Okay, I thought I'd grab it. This is from 2017, so I'm not sure exactly how valid this is, but I'm slightly disturbed. I'm just going to read this out. This is Art by J. Tabor, published. Yeah, author is J. Tabor, Center for World Indigenous Studies, Fears of Pagan Socialism. In Bron Taylor's 20th of April 2011 Religion Dispatches essay, Debate over Mother Earth's Right stirs fears of pagan socialism. He notes that religious and political conservatives have long feared the global march of paganism and socialism. In their view, says Taylor, it was bad enough when Earth Day emerged in 1972, but promoting a socialist agenda. But now, under the auspices of United Nations, the notion has evolved into the overtly pagan and thus doubly dangerous. Oh, I have been telling everyone they actually consider us dangerous for a reason. We are not unimportant to the establishment. Pagans need to wake up to this. International, and thus doubly dangerous International Mother Earth Day, with all 192 member states of the UN General Assembly supporting a 2009 resolution proclaiming International Mother Earth Day as proposed by the socialist Bolivian President Evo Morales. Is it Evo Morales? Evo Morales? One of the two. American conservatives hostile to environmentalism responded with their usual religious hysteria. In Paul Delmont's 1996 essay, A Not So Distant Mirror, he observes that I never expected to find parallels between the militant heretics of the Middle Ages and the current convulsions of the far right. I've been seeing this, and yet, for some fucking weird reason, I've also seen far right pagans, so called. What? The realization thrust itself upon me whilst I was trying to understand what I was witnessing as I attended meetings of the property rights groups which began promoting militia organising in early 1994. I was only just born. The last day of the Christian year of 93, and not long afterwards they start this shit. Everyone seemed instinctively to know what part they played. The endless rants by a variety of characters, full of not only themselves but also a sense of divine mission in struggling against unholy forces. The typical far right meeting is very similar to a service in a lay Christian fellowship of more militant fundamentalist evangelicals. Concerned with the United Nations takeover of public lands in the United States, the militia meetings Delmont described in northwest Washington state comprised of a collection of Christian patriots and wide users who had conflated conspiracy theories with white supremacist propaganda about an imminent UN invasion of the US. By chance, said Darmond, I was reading Barbara Tuchman's A Distant Mirror, A History of the Turbulent 14th Century. I'm not going to go any further, right? But if I didn't need any more evidence that pagans can be socialist, the two can marry together, and three, they've been fearing this. The conservative right wing fear us. Wake up, people! There are a growing number of us. We have a powerful voice now. We have enough people to have a powerful voice. Wake up. They fear us. That gives us the power. We don't need to fear them. They fear us. This is... By chance, says Darmond, I was reading Barbara Tuchman's A Distant Mirror, a history of turbulent 14th century. Tuchman, he notes, explains her interest in the 14th century as starting with a desire to find out what were the effects of the most lethal disaster of recorded history, that is to say, the Black Death of 1348 to 50, which killed an estimated one-third of the population living between India and Iceland. Religious hysteria, says Lormond, was what I thought was what I was seeing, the confluence of property rights and militia movements. In their role as social critics and collectors of grievances, the patriots and wise users are remarkably acute, but they are unreasonable in both analysis and action, rejecting a discourse which supplies reasons and appeals to reason, and instead relies on force for persuasion. Will people stop trying to tell me that Christianity is not fundamentally about forcing your beliefs on others? Please. There's too much evidence against it. Believe what you want to believe, but don't fucking force it on me. The prophetai of the militia movement, notes Darmond, come from the wise use anti-environmentalists and Christian white supremacists, and like the leaders of the medieval social revolutions in Europe, have been successful in obtaining political power and influence, and as they become part of the establishment and decapitate their own movement, their less successful brethren have repeatedly splintered off into more groups and become more violent and irresponsible in both rhetoric and action. They fear us. You know, this is just one source, but you know, this started in 2011 when the census came back on just how many of us there were just then, and the fact that the official numbers were likely to be a very conservative, low estimate. So yeah, I find it very disturbing that that this is a thing, and like that I'm actually proved right. I've actually been proved right here. For years, I thought that for years, because of the treatment I got, I believed that that this was true, right? But I had no way to actually prove it. They hate us and fear us. Golden Dane.